me to feel this.
Yeah.
And so I would say opening up for more dialogue, more um, just emotional vulnerability in your relationships, like, and allowing people to actually, and when you ask people how they doing, like, allow them to give you a real answer.
Yeah.
And when they ask you, give them a real answer. Cause sometimes I'm like fighting for my life, and it could just be my acid reflux acting up. But I ain't want to say I'm good, cause
yeah.
maybe I ain't good. So yeah, so it's about practicing more honesty and more vulnerability is a way that you can be there for your people. And if you create that atmosphere in your relationships, then hopefully it will start to shift. I would imagine that it would, but I ain't gonna say it's automatically going to.
For sure.
But yeah, I would imagine that it would shift into a space that's allowing you to hold emotionally supportive spaces for people.
That's a great way to say that. Talk to y'all friends. Like, really talk to y'all friends. I'm not gonna be suggestive and say that a friend holding space for you is always a guarantee of a positive result. It's not. But I cannot keep track of how many times, especially my male friends, were going through it, and I had no idea. We have been trained in this greeting process to lie, even via question. Like, we lie oftentimes with the question, "How are you?" Because it's not a question; it's a formality. A lot of times, I don't even know if we have the capacity to really truthfully ask a person how they doing. So hey, find a different way to greet people, right? You don't even want to get into the subconscious habit of people thinking they have or giving off the idea that people have space with you that they don't have. Because when you get into this subconscious habit, it trains both of y'all. It trains you to not actually open up when you asking someone to be open with you. And it trains the other person to respond in questions that will cause or call for them to open up in a way that they start to internalize and believe that the other person doesn't really want to know. All of those words are simply, "Hey, how you doing?" "Oh yeah, I'm good." You could ask a person how you doing on a walk by and they won't say anything. I can't tell you how many times I've had it in the office. They'll say, "Hey, what's good? What's up, Greg?" "Hey, how you doing?" And they just keep walking like I only said what's up. And it's like, again, we really do have to get to this space where if you don't got it, just don't pretend to have it, right? If you don't have the emotional capacity for other folks while they on their emotional intelligence journey, and that's cool. It would so happen that the emotionally intelligent thing to do would be for you to recognize you don't have the capacity for folks and govern yourself accordingly. Emotional intelligence will also have it that you're not trying to bully, intimidate, or look down on other folks because they're not in the same place that you may perceive yourself to be on your journey. And it is perception, for that matter. My emotional intelligence may not express itself in the way that the next person's does. Just because I have more $5 words or this person has more $5 words to use to describe their feelings, it doesn't make them inherently more emotionally intelligent than another person. I also want to triple down at this point. Talk. I think we try to get through so much without communication. It's crazy. We've localized somehow. We've localized everything in the world to romantic relationship, and I'm sure this could be my bias because this is where I work now. But somehow everything gets solved by more marriages, more happy couples and shit like that. Somehow the world is going to become more emotionally intelligent because more people are getting married, more people want to be in a relationship, more people settling down, I guess. It requires communication regardless of how you slice it and where you consume it. I don't care if you're talking about marriage. I don't care if you're talking about ethical non-monogamy. I don't care if you're talking about man, woman. I don't care if you're talking about two gender non-conforming folks. Gotta communicate. to talk. And I think by continuing to deem or assign appropriateness, I think is a fair way to say it, to certain emotions, we skipping conversations altogether. You don't want to make and of course, we're starting with the layered convos on purpose, so we have more shit to talk about in film. But like, you have the people pleasing where some folks in romantic relationship, emotional intelligent as they may be, may say, well, I don't want to upset my partner with my feelings. Maybe this isn't the time for me to, and I'm not saying to wild out and just blow up the spot on your partner, but it's like, you could actually have all the reason to be upset. It could be the space and time to talk about you upset, but you're not worried about space and time. You're literally prioritizing the response of another person over you.
You're trying to manage their feelings.
Exactly. Can we talk, before we get up out of here, could you speak to, there's this rolling idea, and I've been chewing on it for a couple weeks. Could you speak to, before we get out of here, centering yourself in your emotional experience? I think even like in a relationship, right, where it's like, I'm centering my partner's feelings over mine, so I'm not gonna say this. And that's not consideration. Like, centering someone else is not consideration at all. Could you speak to this idea or could you speak to maybe folks prioritizing how other people feel over them, and that kind of causing...
You already talking about it, so where are you trying to go?
Is there validity there, I guess? Like, because again, with me not being a professional in this lane, these are things that I'm exploring based on my own mistakes and testimony. And so I can't call them true. Is there validity to that? Like, are other people centering themselves causing damage in their own emotional journeys?
If we're talking about how people try to manage other people by managing their emotions,
Gotcha.
yes,
Okay.
right? So, prime example, like you just said, like, I'm upset, but I know my partner had a long day. My partner's the one who upset me, but I know my partner had a long day. So I'm not going to bring it up to them right now. I also know that maybe their ex-partner used to bring up things that made them upset, and like, I don't want to, right after they got off work, and I don't want to be the one to also do that, right? So I'm now adding like layers onto what's acceptable and when is it appropriate for me. And then I never find the appropriate time to express the fact that I'm upset. Right. But the fact that I'm upset is coming out in different ways, not me verbalizing. Yeah. I may like stop coming around them, or may be giving them a silent treatment, or, you know, like, it's just eking out. Like, sometimes it seeps out. But yes, so oftentimes we try to manage other people by managing our emotions. I don't want to upset them, or we fear how they'll respond to you expressing yourself. So it's like, all right, if I tell them how I feel, they might react this way, and I don't want them to react this way. I don't want them not to like me. I don't want them to be upset with me, so I'm not going to tell them how I feel. But it doesn't stop me from feeling it. And so now I'm feeling it, and I don't know what to do with it, when I could just express it and then deal with the consequences of that expression. But oftentimes we try to mind read or fortune tell, like, this is how I'm gonna break down the whole scenario, how it's gonna work out, and that's not desirable for me, so I'm gonna bring it back. But it's also undesirable for you to hold it all in. Yeah.
And we could do a whole nother episode on avoiding anxious, and we probably will, because that boot fit the out of me. But for now,